everyone. How are you doing?
Hello.
Salutations and welcome to our glorious Ashes of Creation January development update. It is already 2022 and it's the end of January. How are you feeling about that, Stephen?
Oh man, I can't believe it's 2022 and the end of January. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. It definitely ran by real quick.
I feel like I blinked and the month went by for some reason.
Although to be fair, November and December when we had our live streams, they were like at odd dates,
Oh
right? Like
yeah,
earlier in the
yeah.
months. And I kept feeling because I'm used to like our live streams being at the end of the month. And when the live stream came like middle of the month, I was like, whoa, this is kind of weird. So at least now we're back to the at the end of the month thing.
We are creatures of habit, so when stuff changes,
Yes.
we're like, "What is happening?" But yeah, we should be back to normal. We normally try to go for the last Friday of every month, but things change, especially with holidays and stuff like that. We want to be accommodating for our staff and making sure that we're not keeping people during the holidays. We want them to have a nice time with their families. So we'll get right into it. Today, obviously, don't forget if you are watching us on here on Twitch, we also upload these to YouTube. So definitely subscribe over there. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I see the analytics. Y'all be watching, but you're not subscribed. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to be having some cool things for our subscribers over there too. So you don't miss out on any other videos that we have go live. Beyond that, we also will be going over our reminders, our studio update, our design update, environment art update, and our character update will be kind of the big focus for today. I know often we do our focus on like design elements, but today will be characters. And if you've been following us on social media or hanging out in our Discord, you might have got a little teaser of what will be coming, but we are going to be showing off not just one new model, but we are going to reveal some stuff for something that you've never seen, for one of the models that you've never seen. And then we're also going to be showing new models for things that you have not seen as well. So it is actually going to be a lot more content than you were probably expecting. Not just one, many.
Not just one.
Not just one. Got more. I tricked you. Also, our social media manager, Peter, he is so funny. He like used you know, one of our humans as like the thing. So
I saw that as
people
the silhouette, and
yeah,
so
it's a
everyone
silhouette.
was basing their guesses off of the silhouette image. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and then like I saw some YouTubers that were like, it could be an orc, but it's skinnier. And I was just like laughing so hard. I'm like, look what you did, Peter. Even when he sent me the Jira back, and I was like, aren't people going to get a little confused? They're not going to know what this
Yes,
is. And he was like,
that
that's
was
my
evil.
plan. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, you
that
evil.
was some big brain evilness, 100%.
But anyways, we'll get right into reminders. We have not so many today, unlike previous months. So I won't talk your ear off too much. But of course, we do have our monthly cosmetics being swapped over. The Through the Lens cosmetics will be swapping over on February 9th, 2022 at 11 a.m. Pacific. You can check that out over on our shop. They're very cool looking. And we also have our dev discussion. Our dev discussion on griefing. So definitely go over there, hop in. We asked you, what do you consider acceptable behavior in an MMO or PvP based situation? And where do you draw the line at griefing? And you guys provided a lot of great feedback. You can still pop in there, toss some more feedback in, but we have kind of consolidated some of that and sent it over to the design team. And we will be doing our next one on RNG. So if RNG is interesting to you and you have thoughts, bring them.
So just to be clear, did I see a um, owl raptor griffin mount
Yeah.
in
Well,
that
not
image?
griffin, but owl raptor, yes.
Looks like a mixture between an owl griffin mount raptor.
It is it's kind of using our raptor model. So for people who are always asking us,
Oh
does this
yes,
make us have more time or
I like
anything?
its little feather hands.
Yeah, these actually allow us to design stuff a lot faster and create things a lot faster because we're using base models of things that we have that we
That's
want to
cool.
design.
I like
Yeah.
its little tiara too, or
Yeah, it
tiara.
has armor like barding.
Oh yeah, very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It is very, very different. My favorite is actually the Freehold.
The crystal fox thing.
The crystal cat is really cute, but
Oh,
the Freehold actually the building is really
oh yeah,
beautiful.
that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Are those floating?
No, they are attached, but I
Oh,
guess they are
okay.
kind of like extended off.
That'd be cool if they were on like little tiny, mage discs that floated around the building.
That would be
Ooh.
cool. That's a whole
Ooh.
nother level. Maybe not for a cosmetic item, but maybe for in-game achievable or
Oh yeah,
something.
I like that. That's not a bad
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. And last but not least, because we always get asked questions about it as well, we do have our content creator program available for you to apply. We are not going through the applications quite yet, but we still have the applications available. When we close applications, we'll let you guys know, and then we'll start going through those and sending out emails. It's going to be exciting times. There's a lot of you, so we appreciate all of the excitement so much that I'm like, Steven, give me another person who can manage that program, because it's a lot of people. You guys are really excited, and we're excited. We want to support you and have a program that is unlike any program that you've had at other companies or studios. So with
Yes.
that, we always try to give you that AAA experience um, with our small team. Of course, we're gonna head on over to the studio update. And Steven, what do you got for us? You're not in the studio today.
No, I mean I will be right after the show,
Yeah,
but
same.
I had some calls this morning and I was kept trying to like get off the calls, and then I didn't, and it was like 2 minutes before the show and I jumped onto this. You're like, Steven, where were you? We're
I
about to go
know. I
live.
was like, I'm about to add 5 more minutes onto the clock, and people are going to get their bingo card.
I
The community
know.
made like a little bingo card of things. It's pretty funny.
I
I like
know.
it.
I'm sorry. Studio update's great. Things are going very good in the start of this new year. We did some awesome hiring this month. I think we hired six additional new people in January. Very excited for those individuals to join the team. They're incredibly talented, a lot of seniors in that group. So that's fun. We're going to be kicking off some more hiring endeavors as we start this new year. We have a lot of aggressive goals from a growth perspective for the company, and pretty excited to see that come over the next few months. Additionally, the teams have been hard at work at the start of this new year with the migration over to UE5. We officially now have the entire studio
Woo!
team moved
As
over
of
to
Monday.
UE5 as of Monday. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, as of Monday. So that was very excited. Of course, the engineering team led the charge on that over the last few months, getting the code base moved over to UE5 and working out the bugs and kinks as part of that process. So very, very proud of them and their hard work. Additionally, we've made some adjustments actually to our project management structure with the introduction of some new individuals, particularly Jacob on the production side, transitioning our sprints to a more story point based system, which has been kind of exciting for the teams at the studio to switch over to. I expect good things to come from that.
And for
But
people who don't understand what a story-based a system
yeah.
is, it basically uses like the Fibonacci sequence and kind of breaks down tasks instead of them being like specifically like I'm going to do this in 1 hour. It's like it gives you
Yeah,
a
it's
little bit
it's
more leeway.
Sure, it's more indicative of the complexity of a particular task rather than a one-to-one on time.
Mhm.
That gives us great tracking, the ability to be more predictive as part of our future-looking roadmaps internally, and we're pretty excited about that process. A little bit more granular in that sense. So things are going pretty good at the studio. A great start to the new year. Pretty excited for what this year has in store for us, and this January was a nice kickoff for that.
Yeah, so we're rock and rolling. For those of you who I know you always ask about a studio tour and things like that, we are still waiting on a few pieces of furniture and also what I like to call the beautification of the office. Basically
Yes.
making it not look like an office, giving it our own little intrepid flair and uh, adding some more art and plants and making it cozy. So we're going to be making those changes over the next few months, and then when we're ready, we will start doing some videos, of
Yeah,
course.
we're pretty close. You guys have been seeing some sneak peeks that Margaret's been giving as part of our as part of the studio, maybe some insights into the cafeteria area, the lounge area, the foyer with the Christmas trees and the pumpkin patch thing. We've had now what, 4 potlucks so far, I think, in the studio
Is it
since we've
only
gotten every.
4?
I think it has only been 4, but it's been fun. I missed those over the last
Yeah.
year and a
We
half, but
just had one this Wednesday. We were supposed to have it last Friday, but yeah, we had to move stuff
yeah.
around. But It was good.
It was good. It was
Yeah.
very good.
I honestly am like, maybe we just open up a restaurant because
I
everyone's
know,
so
right?
good at cooking.
I know.
This time you don't have to smell because normally it's on live stream day and Steven's like smelling the food and being like, all right,
I
I want
know.
food.
And we have a lot of talented chefs at Intrepid. They moonlight as chefs outside of their normal development jobs.
I feel like they do. There's some good ones. Or
Right.
baking. But yeah,
Yes.
so we try to make sure that we're doing lots of cool stuff for our studio. And we also have kind of set up these little committees where we're going to be doing game nights and lots of fun stuff as a company as well. So that's going to be exciting too. Especially because a lot of us have kind of moved from all over the place.
Oh
So kind of
yeah.
having, more friendship time is good too. Not
Queen
just all
Blossom
work.
asks, Queen Blossom asks, what kind of foods? Well,
Oh
I
gosh,
know I
variety.
didn't have too much of this last live stream, but I know John, my
Last
husband,
live
made
stream.
I mean last last what is it called?
You're eating the live stream now.
Last potluck. But John made his banana pudding and his shepherd's pie and his little sausage dip. And I tried my hardest the morning he was taking it in for the potluck to like snatch it up and just like put it in the refrigerator, but that didn't work. So
You're trying to steal it?
well, it just smelled so good, and I hadn't eaten anything yet that morning, and I was like, "Do we have to take all three? Maybe we can leave one here for us." It's too
Everyone
bad.
really liked it. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, lots of tasty goodness. But the studio's going well. Like Steven said, we've got a lot of cool stuff happening, and we're excited.
yeah,
And hiring's continuing. Um,
absolutely.
so moving on from there, let's talk about design stuff. This is where there's a lot happening. Design and engineering are doing so much. So
Yeah,
take a
I've
deep
got to
breath,
tell you,
Stephen.
that is too funny. I've got to tell you, actually, it's been, I've spoken about this the last few live streams that a lot of these discussions after we came out of Alpha One on reiterating over some of the systems and designs around those systems has been a great time. I mean, we have, of course, our large design discussions that we hold in our conference rooms, and it definitely gets lively, a lot of passionate voices around some of these ideas. Um, but yesterday, just as an example, we were talking a lot about kind of the management of the economic systems within the world and how they relate to nodes participating in those economic systems, whether or not they get to exert pressures over certain material markets, what those material markets look like from a mayorship perspective. Do I have to account for a number of resources that I am keeping track of versus those trade relationships with nearby nodes and the types of resources that they might need to begin certain public initiative projects and interfacing with the player population, talking about spigots and sinks and where we want the predominancy of economic volume to occur between player to player transactions and having that kind of closed market system. This was a lot of fun in defining the variables and the specifics around those things, and that's been a lot really of what this process post Alpha One has looked like as we've gone through the data, as we've gone through the community feedback, as we've gone through kind of re-architecting the more fleshed out portions of these systems for Alpha 2 and what they look like, and getting to see the designers on our team, which we have incredibly talented designers across Corey and Chris and Trad and Brian and Jason and Jeremy and Bucky and Naomi and Chang. And I mean, we just have really an incredible
You
Mike,
start
incredible.
naming
I
them,
know, I
and
know,
then
I
you
know, I
gotta
know,
keep.
I know, I know. I'm so sorry. I
Someone's
can
gonna feel left out, Stephen.
I know, but we have an incredibly talented design team, and I've loved really getting to get into the weeds of all this stuff with them. Obviously at the outlook of Ashes of Creation, I have all these kind of grand macro ideas around systems and pulled from inspirations of the games that I played as an MMORPG player and what I thought they did best. But getting really the diversity and thought amongst our design team, being able to contribute to parts of those micro level specifics in each of these systems has been a lot of fun. So design's been hard at work at that. In addition, obviously the prototyping and working towards the changes across combat excuse me, Very excited to kind of debut that stuff to the community, get additional feedback, and iterate upon that again. Design's been interfacing with animation, with VFX as part of that process, and planning out what these different iterations of combat are going to actually look and feel like, right? So that's been a lot of fun. Additionally, having over the last few weeks, really getting into specifics about how we want to re-architect some of these class structures, where we're placing certain types of abilities, what the bread and butter of each of these archetypes actually looks like, how they're going to fit into the progression of up to level 35 in Alpha 2, what interactions players are going to have in Alpha 2 with the augment system, and the ability to redefine a little bit of their role and kind of flirt that holy trinity, so to speak, presenting the opportunities of hybrid classes, have a lot of discussions and planning around that. So that's all fun. I mean, there's just so much that's intended for Alpha 2. Really gives a very big picture of what the game Ashes of Creation is going to look like. So we're making sure that we're getting all of our ducks in order when it comes to planning out how we want players to interface with these systems for Alpha 2, and it's going to be pretty exciting, I think, to see people play it.
Yeah. I know people are going to be super hyped to see some of those prototypes coming in the next few months as you are ready to showcase them.
Oh, did I accidentally leak 35?
Yeah, you did.
Ah, shoot. Okay, well, I just want to say that's our target goal. I hope the design team's going to yell at me. We didn't for sure decide on 35 yet, but no, that's our target
That's
goal.
why I was like,
we're going to end up around
like
35, I think. So it is what it is.
It's subject to change, as with all design in development.
Yes, there you go.
I'll
Subject to change. Yes, you don't know exactly it's going to be 35 yet, so just keep that in your back pocket.
I was like, oh, they're taking that and going.
Yes, I know.
And I'm like trying to think of if there's anything else.
I lost my mic.
You lost your mic? We can still hear you.
Okay, I'm here. I lost my speakers, I guess, or okay, I'm good. Somebody's cutting me off from the studio. Cut his mic. Cut his mic. And, just kidding.
I think you're good. Anything else you want to share on the design front or engineering side? I mean, obviously, I know the engineering team has been hard at work on UE5 madness. So,
what I will say on the design side, and I just had a conversation with this about with Jason Neal a little while ago, was originally we talked about how zerging is always a problem in a lot of these MMORPGs where you really can't control the number of participants in certain open world systems, right? And in that sense, instancing is a great tool that designers can sometimes use to curate a particular number of participants that you want. But the predominant amount of content within Ashes of Creation, over 80% of which is open world content. So instancing is very limited. But what we were talking about was how during like sieges or castle sieges or node sieges, you're going to have certain instance locations where it's only going to be a group that's designated to participate versus another group while the siege is happening. And I know in the past we talked about, well, how do you plan to incorporate these more objective-based waypoints as part of these larger events, and say that not only is it going to be a complement of numbers in the overall grand kind of battle perspective, but there's also going to be opportunities for smaller, more niche groups to participate in more focused objective capturing, right? And a part of that is going to be, small, very short, kind of 10-minute long instance battles where groups can go and participate against other groups that are defender versus attacker, and the outcome of which will influence certain aspects of the overall battle while that's still occurring in the background. Those types of interactions, I think, are going to be a lot of fun. That's a discussion that we had a little bit on the design side. Of course, that's going to get fleshed out a little bit more. Whether or not we see that in Alpha 2, I'm not sure if we will, but it is part of the design and how to incorporate those smaller group-based objectives as they work in concert with the overall larger battle. So just, I think, interesting things.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
interesting. I know people love hearing the more you can share with them, the more they're going to be happy.
Oh yeah.
I know that on the design front, the one thing that you guys are super excited about is combat. And like we said, we'll be showing off some of the new prototypes for those changes coming soon. There's also a lot of AI infrastructure that they're working towards
Oh
too, as
yeah.
well, which I don't know
Absolutely.
if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, we were actually just talking about this, um, as part of the AI tools that designers get to work with. Excuse me. I was having a discussion with Corey as he was presenting kind of the function of hate and hate tables, how leashing works behind UIs, how different behavior trees are going to be possible at either variables that will have different types of reactions from a skill perspective on the AI. For example, if you're, attempting to train monsters, the ability for there to be a small percentage chance of different types of ability usage by those NPCs that are not exactly predictable, right? Those variables make things a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fluid, more reactive from the player's perspective. These are capabilities that the AI is intended to have and will be online for Alpha 2. I think that's going to present to players a little bit of a different moment-to-moment kind of combat that they aren't typically used to in MMORPGs because the activities and behaviors of the AI are a little bit more predictive in the games we've typically played. But I think this is going to be a nice addition to the type of interactions that players can expect to have in Ashes of Creation. That's going to be a lot of fun. Not to mention that AIs will exist within certain factions in the game. We're a non-faction based game. However, we present a lot of opportunities for pseudo factions to arise, and that's just not from the player's perspective, but it's also from the NPC perspective as well. So how players interface with those NPCs within the nodes, with those individual factions, whether or not you can even have those factions perhaps vote in certain elections. So there might be some quest-based / reputation-based activities that you can perform with NPC factions within a node to add them to the voting structure of the mayorship, right? For scientific nodes, I think that's kind of a cool dynamic that provides an alternative to the just standard voting aspects. That's kind of cool. But yeah, there's a lot of cool AI stuff that we're working on.
Yeah. And when we're ready to share some of those things along our journey, we definitely will. So stay
I like
tuned. It's going to be exciting.
Omdat said Stephen is leaking more than my kitchen sink. You might want to get that. You might want to get that checked out, Omdat.
All right. I think that if you don't have anything else you want to share on the design or engineering front, well, engineers also working on the character creator
Oh
backend stuff. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit
yes,
about that. I know it's
sure.
character related, but
Yeah, I
the
think
thing that is that like everything kind of touches all the things. So
a lot of things touch a lot of things. That is true.
yeah.
Yeah, no. Are we on design or we're doing engineering with
For
design? Okay,
design and
sorry about that.
engineering, I kind of group up
Got it.
together. Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
They often like
Engineering's
engineering stuff can't be shown until design is
sure.
interacted with it. So I could usually clump those together.
Yeah, engineering's been doing a lot of work. Um, outside of obviously the UE5 migration, which is obviously, a big chunk of work that needs to be done. Clayton's been working on the materials. Zach and Adam have been working on the character customization options, and I just took a look at that actually yesterday. Zach has done an amazing job with different parameters that are adjustable, the deformations that are possible, the customization of the character's face and body. I mean, it's just very in depth. Now, obviously, it needs some UI love, and it needs to be presentable in a visible way. But the parameters, the technical side of what's capable, working with the character team, with Jincy, with Chris Atkins, and the animators, adjusting these facial parameters so that they can be super customizable has been really interesting to see. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to showcase a little bit of that work in progress next month. But the intent intent is to have one of the most customizable options from a character creator perspective in an MMORPG. And I think the engineering team is hitting that mark. Zach has been leading the charge on that. It's really
I
exciting
do want to
it's
preface,
exciting to see.
though, that it will be in the early phases for showing it off next month. The UI is
Yes.
definitely not the final UI.
No.
There's still
Yep.
some work that
No.
needs to be done. So
No, I think the
yeah.
cool thing about, I mean, you guys, I mean, what we have a little over 3,000 people watching right now. We have developed, I think, a rapport as part of this transparent development process where we as developers are comfortable showing you guys work in progress, and you have kind of the context to take a look at something in its early phase and understand what it's going to become in its final product phase. You've seen the progress of Ashes of Creation over the last 4 or 5 years, and you've seen where we've come from in that time to our Alpha 1 presentation, and you can see how things develop, right? So having built that kind of rapport with the community, I think allows us to show these work in progress things, and it can get you guys a little bit excited because you get to take a look under the hood, and you get to see this process, when it's not pristine and beautiful and polished, but rather, along the way. And that's a cool interaction to have, because it lets us, of course, gather feedback earlier on, but at the same time, it gives you guys confidence in the direction we're taking, and gets you excited.
Yeah. I just always like to preface, because there's some people who walk away with something and is like, this is the final combat. And it's like, no, that's not.
Yeah, no,
So
you're always going to have that. I mean,
my
that it is
job
what
is
it
to make
is.
sure I engrave that in your minds.
Yeah.
All right. Anything
Yeah.
else you
Oh,
want to
and
share
I'm
on
sorry.
the?
Yes.
Oh
So
yeah,
so that was on the character customization front.
yeah.
Mitch and Hunter and Zach have been doing a great job working on the networking changes that we've been implementing in anticipation for Alpha 2, getting all things network related. Excuse me. In a spot where we're going to really see some awesome interactions and performance on the server side for Alpha 2. So super excited about the work that they're doing. There's been a lot of work on the back end, on our platform, on our microservices that Mark and his team have been working on. Mark, Rich, Eric, and Tuan. Very
Yeah,
excited
we
for.
did have a update that you guys probably saw. That was just to fix some bugs. There's still a few others that we're looking into in regards to like the web front. So if you're experiencing any of those issues, I know, for instance, like there's one where it says that you're unbanned from the forums. That email should actually just be telling you that your email is verified. So we're getting those things resolved. It was
Yeah.
some of the things from the update when we swapped the new SSO changes over.
Absolutely. Also, a lot of exciting feature work being done on the narrative tool, on some of the adjustments to the node tool. Roy's been working on the design data tool that Max has been working on. So a lot of stuff coming together from engineering, supporting our design and art teams for Alpha 2. It is going to be a big undertaking, and engineering always helps lead the charge on that.
100%. They're like the middle part of everything, and everything else kind of trickles from that.
Yes.
Very exciting stuff. So I think we're ready to move on to environment art, unless you have any additional things you want to share on the design or engineering side. I know it's a
No,
lot to remember.
I think that's it for the most part.
Yeah. We'd be here all day if we shared every little bit that everyone's working on.
This is true.
So let us move on to our environment art update. So moving on. I think
Testing.
it should be fixed now.
Oh, it's probably the
Strange.
scene.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was muted, some turned off. You should be all
We're
good
back.
now. Dude, look how crazy the chat is. They're like, you're
I know.
muted. They're losing their minds.
Look at these boats. Was this Harold that worked on these?
I believe so. I'm not certain. Engineer didn't put names on everybody who worked on all the things.
Oh, on environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or environment, not engineering.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're making boats now.
Yeah, engineering is making boats now.
Oh, this is Brandon. I'm sorry. This is Brandon McDonald. He made this boat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Very cool.
and
Love
we
it.
have
The
a
personal
3D
ship.
version to show you.
Now, of course, this would be one of the very early boats that you'd be able to acquire in game. And he calls this, what is this one? This is the
Yeah,
Hukeler
something
sailboat.
like that. I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Hukelar, the Hukelar. Yeah, it looks very good. So this would be the one that you kind of get early on, working your way up. Of course, should you choose to take that path in creating larger boats, this would probably be one of the first. You might take it out to go, certain fishing spots, or to, travel out along the coast as an alternate path from a land route. But this would be a relatively easy one to acquire early on.
Yeah.
And to be clear, these types of boats, these smaller personal vessels, would not require, and I'm fairly certain here, would not require an established harbor that's connected as a point of interest from a node location, right?
Like
These
you
would
could
probably
just go
be,
off on
yeah,
a side.
right, exactly. These would probably be capable of being both constructed and launched from any portion of the land,
Coast.
of the coast. Thank you.
Maybe
So
just not in the in the land in the middle of of
right.
nowhere.
No, just a land dwelling
Can you imagine a land
sailboat.
boat?
Yes, exactly.
It'd be pretty funny.
Instead of a flying Dutchman, it's a flying rowboat.
Don't tempt people. No, there would be some people would be like, my immersion. Moving on from there, we've got some cool lighting fixtures and little bits and bobs for the environment
Yeah,
team.
some props
There's
work.
Owe working on more props.
I know Hal always does such a great job with these props. I think this is Adam that did a coffee table along with the Brazier work in
Yeah,
progress,
here's the
which is
coffee
this one.
tables.
Yes, love these. Beautiful.
And then,
Furniture, such an important aspect of the game.
then Harold
It is.
also made the barriers, defensive barriers. Getting some siege goodness in here.
Oh yeah.
See the back of it. And as well as a fountain.
Fontaine.
The fontaine. And
Oh.
then the big thing we have here is kind of showing you some of the road system tech that Brian Gans is working on.
Oh,
So I'm going to
interested to
show.
see this.
Note that these videos are not the highest quality of video, but you're getting a little behind the scenes of seeing how the road system tech is going to work. So kind of showcasing this. It's basically a work in progress preview. It shows off how how we'll be changing the landscape from grass to natural elements to the different levels of roads, because there's going to be different types of roads. Like when it starts out, it'll be dirt road, and it'll change into be more
So what you're seeing here as
civilized.
Brian is manipulating these different volumes, you can see in the kind of center to center right area a small line of a road. What this is wanting to do is, as nodes advance, right, these pre-laid kind of road spots that exist connecting every possible route between certain node structures is going to adjust and adapt both its material presentation, the type of road work that's present. It'll move from this more dirt road type to perhaps a brick laid road to perhaps some super ornate, beautiful metropolis style road that will adjust around the world according to how these node structures begin to populate and advance. That's obviously a very important thing. Roads aren't just something that's visually beautiful in this game. They also have very specific mechanical implications: the speed of caravans, the movement of mounts between nodes. These are all relevant structures that have game design implications and mechanic implications. So it's important that not just visually we're updating the road sequence to make sense, both from a advancement of the world structure, but also that you are able to identify which roads are going to be most complementary to the movement of your caravan, let's let's say, right? Or the structures between nodes and how you can move with your mount. These are pretty important aspects.
Yeah, and to kind of give you some understanding here, the node influence is depicted by these like circles that you're seeing.
Yeah.
Um, uh, as they move and scale across the road, that's how you're going to see these road types change. So those the circles that you see around that he's moving like the spawn point type of thing, and those circles are the thing that are altering and changing. And you can see as he's moving it around how that's changing the road path.
Yeah.
Um, it's really, really cool. And obviously, lower level nodes will have, things like dirt roads and things like that, and we'll move into cobblestone and brick. So it's very exciting stuff. And being able to showcase that a little bit from the tech side, uh, how the automation is going to work. I think hopefully you guys enjoy seeing that. If you like it, let us know. We'll show you more stuff like that. And I think that's it for environment art. And we can swap over to the big one, which is character stuff. Are you ready for it, Steven?
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. What are
Yeah.
we? Now I know we have a few. Okay,
The
so to
the
preface
one that they've
the
never seen before is we're gonna start.
yes. Oh, we're gonna start with that one. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. All right. So to preface this, of course, as you guys know, art is always a work in progress. We oftentimes go through first passes, and that'll be good enough for a particular milestone or what we're attempting to achieve within that. Within that particular presentation, and then we'll come back and we'll fix things up. We'll do a second pass, we'll do a third pass. We might update some skin materials, we might do some changes to the base body. Hopefully not too many changes there, but what we want to do as part of this kind of reveal is, of course, we're going to be revealing one of the new character races, and we haven't said which one yet. But in addition, we're going to show you some updates that have been done also to some character races that you've already seen, and how just different they look now as a result of those second or third passes. And I think that's going to be pretty exciting. I know it's always been,
and reveal of a 3D model for one or a couple that they've never seen 3D models for. So
I think it's in the community, it's fun to, like I said earlier, it's fun to always watch the progress. But in the character models specifically, since like 2018 or 17,
oh
you
my
go
gosh,
back and look at
Steven.
the character. No, please, it's so funny. Go back and look at the
eyes. What is going on with their faces?
Go look at the
Sometimes?
character models from like 2017, 18, the Kalar or the Empyreans, and there's some great community memes out there about it. But ever since Atkins,
Oh, one of our staff members also dressed up for Halloween as that starting character too.
oh yeah, I know.
Was that Bucky? I think it was Bucky.
I think it
so
was
good.
Bucky. It was so great. But ever since Atkins took over as lead character artist, the character team has been doing an incredible job. I mean, there's such great talent over there between Eli and Jinsey and Chris and Keith.
You started naming.
I know, darn! I need to stop doing that. And everyone else on the character
It's
team,
gonna
the
get
whole
harder
team.
as we-
I
get
know.
more people.
I know. But they've been doing a great job. So let's reveal. So who is this race that we're gonna show?
Right. The first one we're gonna show is the reveal of.
Oh,
the
we don't
Vec.
have to show it yet. Wait, hold on.
Oh.
Wait, don't show it. Did we show it?
No, I haven't shown it yet.
Okay. So this is the Vec. So what do we know about the Vec? Right. The Vec are these star.
I almost hit the button.
I know. I'm sorry. The Vec are these star-gazing sub-race of orcs that kind of delineated away from the original Kai-Vec, a protectorate that was this, large orcish kingdom prior to the fall and to the exodus of Vera. And the Vec continued about their focus on the stars and how they could glean the best uses of the essence and be predictive of the future, and that almost astrology aspect of what Vera has available to it. So let's take a look at the Vec.
Dun, dun. I feel like I need to do a
have
sound
some
effects,
like a sound. Yes.
Wait.
Oh wait, no, not that one.
Not that one. Drum roll.
Yeah. Yes, drum roll. Totally drum roll.
All right. I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. The first reveal of the.
Is it like full screen? Oh no, it's like cyber. Oh yes. So these are the Vec. And what you can see here, obviously, is you can see the male Vec and you can see a female Vec. There are some significant, body influences and differences, especially when it comes to the ears, the nose, that brow structure that delineates them away from the Ren Kai. Those are the main things. Where there are some similarities where you can still see that orcish presence, it's obviously the underbite that's present, the kind of teeth structure that's available, those more kind of tribal influences across the face artwork that's present. But these guys, I think, are a major distinguishing factor between what players are accustomed to in general player character races, like humans and elves. Those are relatively standard, right? There's not too much you can really deviate here, but the Vec gives us an opportunity from an orc perspective to really kind of play towards influences that aren't typically seen in orc races, right? Almost an alien look with especially the color of the skin tone, that kind of bluish.
Oh, just wait till I show you some other
influence.
ones. You
Yes.
ready?
Now
We got
here,
some
so
variants for you.
I love the variant. Show me the big bug-eyed
Oh,
variant. I want to see
I
that
don't know
one.
which one that one is
Oh,
on
I
here.
want to see the bug-eyed. So these
I
are
might
going
be
to
able
be.
studio mode it. One sec.
Oh, okay.
I'll look. Okay, I think I know which one it is. I will swap to that one for you.
So now the hope is that these types of variants that you're about to see are going to be customization options that are available. Almost, somebody said burn it. That's
so
terrible.
looking.
No, he's not scary. Look at he's got puppy eyes.
I love it. Aww.
He's just looking for a friend.
He just wants to kiss you.
Yeah.
With
Look at
tusks.
with his little teeth, little tusk teeth. But of course, you can see that there are still similarities, right, between some of the facial features. But this would almost be an ethnicity within the Vec culture. A little bit of
Someone's
a
like,
deviation.
who needs a telescope with those eyes? Someone said that in Discord.
Who needs a telescope? Hey, that's why the eyes maybe progressed like that. They were always looking at the stars, right? So they're trying to take in as much light as possible. Yes.
They can see further than everybody else. That'd be cool.
Right. The more dilated the eyes are, the more they can take in exposure-wise in the darkness and looking up at the stars. I mean, these are elements of their evolutionary path that influenced kind of their visual presentation.
All right, we have another
somebody
version.
said they're the grays.
We have another version for you all as well, which looks badass. He looks cool.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Now here you can see, I think would be a little bit more similarity with the Ren Kai, right? And the shape of the brow and the shape of the eyes. They're almost
less
cunning.
Muscular though.
Yeah, absolutely less muscular. But the features, what they're presenting from a personality perspective. I mean, you have a very cunning brow there, right? Like that is something that's important, in their presentation.
I love it.
Yes.
Sick. They're pretty sick.
You guys will have to go and comment after our live stream. Go on Twitter, go on the forums, go on Reddit. Give us some commentary on what you think about the Vec. Did they live up to your expectations? What do you like about them? What do you wish you could change? This is, I personally love them. I think they look great.
They're very different from our other races, which I think
absolutely.
is important.
It is very important.
If you're looking for a different type of race, then there are other options for you. But if this is your jam.
One important thing also that's distinguishing about the Vec, and this is something that we'll be showcasing later, is that their base idle stance, the stance that they have is going to be a little bit more contorted, right? It's going to have a little bit more, odd language across the shoulder structure and kind of their stance and how they kind of move about. And one of the main reasons for that is because, when we think about a threat assessment perspective, when we think about you coming across other players in the world and being able to identify and distinguish between the different races at a distance, almost that silhouette profile, right? The Vec share their height with the Kalar and the Valoon a little bit, right? They're very similar in height to the Kalar and the Valoon, but we needed someone to distinguish. We needed something to distinguish their silhouette, and that thing is going to be how they stand. You know, what their stance looks like. Something that's going to be very exciting also to show in the future, once animation has an opportunity to give us these variants, is going to be that base idle animation when you're just kind of standing, not in a combat stance, right? Not in combat, but when you're standing outside, non-combat idle, that you'll have different stances and forms that you can choose at the character creation point, right? Whether you walk in a more masculine way or a more feminine way, or perhaps, you know, you have these different types of movements to your base idle, non-combat idle. That's going to be something that we want to offer as an option as well. We'll expand on that further in the future when animations had an opportunity to provide some of those variants, and we can internally test that. But that's the desire. Might change in the future, but I think we're capable of doing that.
Yeah, it'd be neat as, you know, as you're doing your creation of your character, being able to choose your idol animation and make yourself a little different than everybody else. I think
Absolutely.
people will appreciate that. Speaking of our orc friends, who are very similar but different,
Ooh, the Renkai.
we have shown the Renkai before in a similar manner to how we're showing the Vec, but
Right.
now we have the 3D model work in progress for you all to see. So I'm
That's
going to
right.
share
And
that with you.
fun note real quick,
Okay, before I
actually,
change.
the Renkai themselves, excuse me, the Renkai models will actually be part of our next milestone within the next, I think, month. We're going to have them now fully fledged in game with armors and everything that's playable internally as we do our QA testing and as we do our milestone testing. I know that's on the Sprint 4 character, and that's why you guys are getting to see the updated models on the Renkai, because we wanted to go through that second pass on their skin materials, on their face. And keep in mind, as you're looking right now at the Vec, like what
Can I
facial features
show
the
it?
Vec have. Yes, as you
Oh,
see the
gotcha.
Renkai, you can see kind of the differences in the facial structures.
Okay,
Now the Renkai
can I
also
show the Renkai
are
now?
yeah, you can show them.
Okay.
The Renkai are big boys and girls, so they're the tallest player character race that you can have in the game. They're also very buff and very meaty. These big, you know, imposing
Beastie
silhouette.
Boys.
They're Beastie Boys. Well, wait, that's probably that's
More
a
Tulnar,
musical group. Isn't
probably.
that a musical group, the Beastie Boys?
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
that's
that is a Beastie. Yeah.
so they're not technically Beastie Boys, but they're beast-like boys. No,
There you go.
but you can see the features here. These are very large. If you were to put a Vec next to a Renkai, the Vec would almost stand probably at just beneath the chest, just beneath his pecs. So these are big boys and girls.
And then we have another version of them for the male. We won't be showing the female quite yet, but maybe in a future live stream you'll get to see that. So stay tuned. We will be showing females of other things. So.
Oh, this one is the Asmonbald version. No, I'm just, I'm just kidding. I just love Asmongold. No, I'm just joking. Oh, got him. I'm just kidding. Do we have some? We have some close-ups on the face, right?
Of the orcs, not the orcs, but
What on the Renkai? I thought we did on the Renkai. Didn't we have
not on
some
the
close-ups?
Renkai. I don't have.
Oh, we can do somewhere.
But we can definitely share some more on social and stuff. So stay tuned for lots of goodness. The next thing that we have never shown is the Nikuin dwarves. And so this will be the first time you are going to get to see them as well. And I don't know if you want to preface anything in regards to that, Stephen.
Oh, on the Nakua? Yeah. So obviously, excuse me, one of the biggest feedbacks that we had out of Alpha 1 was the representation of the Dunir versus the Nikuin. And that was great, really, information that you guys, testers and audiences out there, provided us, kind of what your anticipation was of the Dunir, more traditional dwarven presentation versus the more innovative approach to dwarven society and the Nakua, and being that more almost Polynesian influenced beach dwarf, so to speak. So oh, I just got someone shared me a file. Oh, that's a different one. I'm sorry. So we took that advice, we took that feedback, and we went and we made some adjustments, and we delineated the differences between the presentation of the Dunir versus the Nakua. So are we showing the Nakua or the Dunir one first?
Nikuan first.
Okay,
It'll
so
be
the
the new. I'm
Nikuan
showing all the
one,
new stuff, and then obviously Junior are going to have new models too, but they've seen some
yes,
more of that than they have the others.
awesome.
All right, here we go. Here we are.
There we go. So you can see that, and you'll get context for this in just a moment. Once the
They look like gnomes, people are saying.
a little bit, right? So once you see this Nikuan body type, and you see this Nikuan presentation, who's Tyler? What do they keep saying Tyler for? What's
They
Tyler
think
one?
Tyler one he's a Twitch streamer. So
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
he's a content creator.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
it's okay.
terrible. So Tyler one's a Nikuan, like in real life, or what is that?
No, he's not.
No.
But they
Oh, okay.
are saying that he looks similar. I think that's what they're
Okay,
saying.
got it.
He's a very
well,
buff dude.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know that reference. But you can see here, right? This almost has, the proportions of his body isn't that indicative of a dwarf, right? Of a traditional dwarf, and instead it has more of that halfling look a little bit, right? It has a little bit more halfling, and this is kind of similar to what was in Alpha 1 for the Dunir, but you're going to see significant differences.
Let's show them the Dunir because they're upset, I think.
Yes,
but
let us
we need to show you
so
context that, like,
give you
there's different
context.
bodies for different people. Not everyone
Yes.
wants to be the stocky dwarf.
That's
But
right.
here we go. So this is the dwarves that you all, I think, are wanting.
Now this is the
different type
Dunir.
of race. Yeah.
Yes, and you can see in the Dunir, you can see the update to the skin material and textures. Like, it is, this is a major update for the Dunir, and these are the more traditional dwarves. You can see here, this is some of the in-game achievable armor that they're wearing, I believe, right? This isn't a cosmetic armor. Yeah, I think this is the in-game achievable armors. But you can see just the quality on that second or third pass that we've done here with the Dunir, what they look like, and compared to the Nikuan, right? The Nikuan race we want it to be different. We want it to stand out apart from the Dunir. And in that sense, that's why you have those more halfling oriented influences. Whereas here you can see in the body type, just the discrepancy and what these proportions look like anatomically. It is a more traditional dwarven character race. Somebody said this is how
the cheeks.
Somebody said this is how my 4-year-old looks when walking around the house.
Dude, your 4-year-old is buff, man.
It's a buff 4-year-old. So, as we said with the VEC, make sure you guys go and comment on Twitter, Discord, Reddit, our forums. Give us your feedback. Take a look at these, grab some screenshots of it. Give us kind of your feedback on how these either met what your anticipated kind of influences for these races present, how awesome they look, or would you want to play one of these? What type of customization options you would want to have. Obviously, the dwarves are going to have the most expansive beard customization options available. But I really love how we've updated these character races. I think they look great.
A female version as well for those lady dwarves out there.
Okay, now here's my idea for the female version, by the way. Female dwarves, it's reported in Ashes that they're capable of having beards, right? But what do you think? Can we go back real quick 1 second to the previous to the previous image? Yeah, to the male. Notice on the male, does this one have the body here? Yeah. Notice on the male, you can see elements of body hair all across, patches of body hair there, right? And let's go back to the female. What do you guys think if we were to incorporate body hair in the same fashion across the female body as well? Is that something that is unique that you'd want to see on the as an option on the female?
I
It's
think
like,
giving it as an
no.
option, I think there's a mix. I think if it's an option that people can
Yeah, total
toggle,
option. Yeah.
I think that's cool. 'Cause
Absolutely.
just like ladies who want beards, like I know I want to be a dwarf with a beard, so I think it'd be cool to
I think it
also
would be
be able to
great
have that.
if as a character customization option for the female Duniers, you had body hair as an option, and some of that body hair in certain locations could be braided. Like, what if they had armpit hair
Braided
that was
armpit
very
hair.
long and had braids and like little ornaments adorned
How
on
is
the
that gonna work with
armpit braid?
armor? You're making the character model artist go like,
Well, I mean, these would be these would be
you just have armor
visible if you
holes?
take off. No, if you take off the armor, or
Okay.
yeah, you could have like maybe armor holes. I don't know. Or what if they had like tail hair, on the back or something, and it just kind of came out and was like a tail or something. I don't know. That'd be kind of interesting, I think.
Tail hair. You're getting to Toolnar territory there, Steven.
I'm, I'm just theorizing, but these are the types of conversations that you
But
guys
hair-
can.
What hair braids? The chat's killing me.
These are
And for
just
those asking, we will be cutting. We'll have the stream up on YouTube, and we'll also cut out little bits and pieces that we always post on social. So if you follow us on social media, I think all the links are down below right there. We'll be sharing a lot of little bits and pieces. So if you like more bite-sized content, that is always the best way to follow us and continue getting updates. But yeah. Uh, are we ready to show the armor set stuff for the junior?
yeah, we can
Okay.
absolutely. I'm sorry. I got a little ahead of myself there. Man, I just want you guys to have those conversations. Let us know your thoughts on it. I think it is water. Yes, this is water. It is not anything but water.
Yeah, he's drinking water. We always have to tell people he's drinking water. So this is I think tier 5 armor.
Yes. Is this tier 5 or tier 4?
It said
I think
tier
this-
5.
Oh, it's at tier 5. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So this is an example of in-game achievable. This is fully modeled and completed top grade armor. And this is obviously a plate set that you're seeing. This is something that is an armor set you can achieve in game. Let us know in the comments and following up this, what your thoughts are on this in-game achievable armor comparative to some of the cosmetics, obviously, that we presented in the past. Is this the level of armor that you're looking at and saying, damn, this is epic. Like, this is the armor I would want to achieve. This does not incorporate visual effects. So, excuse me. Some of the enchantment options that you have on weapons will present visual effects, glows, of blue and red colors. There's obviously going to be status conditions that can be applied as well, like as you might be CC'd or whatever. But from an enchantment perspective, you can have a glowing weapon as well, and this doesn't show that.
All right. And last but not least, this is also still work in progress, but the Kalar Mal is being worked
And
on as well.
one other thing, by the way, about this armor
Okay,
set,
go
and
back.
it's important to note. Oh, there we go. He
I'm
doesn't
back.
have armor. He's naked.
Yeah. He's naked.
He's naked. One of the things about these armor sets that's important to note is that, we're not going for that visual appearance of really oversized, unrealistic looking kind of overly fantastical, armor pieces. Of course, we're going with super epic looking. We're going with, real or ornate, kind of appearance. And I think this armor really does a great job of capturing that balance between what traditionally some MMO styles have, which is a little bit overly fantastical appearance of armors, but keeping it realistic and at the same time really epic and still ornate and complex. That has progression to that gear appearance, right? Not only that, but it's important to note, like, gear is also a part of the silhouette, right? This is another threat assessment component. When you're coming across players, you're taking a look. Oh, okay, I'm aware this guy has a full set on that is the top grade kind of gear that is noticeable at a distance. I like
Right.
somebody said threat level midnight.
All
That's great.
right. I will swap over to our Kalar male here, who is still work in progress. He's in his T pose, so he's got his scary eye, his scary eyes.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, so these
we're
are just
seeing a lot of changes.
this is just adjustments on the body. Excuse me, on the body. Shit. Sorry. Hold on.
Steven's got his cough. Don't
All right.
worry. He's
No,
had a cough for a long time.
yeah, I know. I'm totally fine.
I just before new people come in and they're concerned with like that you
No,
have
no,
like
no.
COVID.
The problem is that I am talking literally all day long, constantly, and unfortunately, sometimes that irritates my throat a little bit. But I'm not sick or anything. Anyways, what you're seeing here is obviously these are updates to the KLR body, the base body. These are important. You may not really notice as much, but these are passes that character team is doing on that body, on the face, on what that mid-level body type looks like. And then these are from this point is where you're going to get that character customization options. You're going to be able to play with the size of the calves and the thighs and the musculature, the how toned and defined is the body versus some of the lengths and proportions on the limbs. But you can also see updates here to the skin. You can see updates here to the face. You can see updates here to body definition. These are starting to get to a place where I think is a very compelling character race, right? And is on the same par as any AAA MMORPG that you guys have experience with, that we've had experience with in the past. So I think it's looking really good.
Yeah, it's looking very good, and we'll be showing more stuff as we progress every month.
Is this?
You guys are going to continually see more.
Somebody
updates.
said this is the Asmonbald character.
Stephen.
No.
Next up, we've got some amazing new character art as well. From this was made by Eli. This is the Regalia of the Plated Heart, which is
Eli did a great job with this set.
Yeah. Very interesting set, because it's one of those things where you're going to a gala, but you want to make sure that you're armored still.
Yeah, almost that gold, that gilded, armor piece on the females, almost full body dress there. I think that one of my favorite things is, of course, it's tricky with animation sometimes, but having that full kind of canopy-esque looking dress piece is really cool. I love the flow of it from an animation perspective in game. Of course, sometimes it's difficult as the feet try to clip into the to the armor itself, but I know that our cloth our cloth simulated physics and whatnot, those types of pieces are usually shine.
And then I have the turntable for this, so you can see the 3D model.
It looks like they're dancing a little bit,
And
like they're on those carousels. You know what I mean? What I'm talking about, where you spin those up and they're just dancing.
It looks like, and these are the Vaylune too. So you're getting to see some more racial stuff that, if you're paying attention, you can see.
This is the Vaylune character race.
Yeah. So you're kind of getting to see more of it as it's coming to fruition. Next up, we have the Salt Spine, a big chunky boy. Looking amazing.
This was, John looked at this guy and loved this guy. And I looked at it too, and I was like, wow, this guy, he's pretty cool. Was it Danny that did this one?
This one is Danny, yeah.
Yeah, Danny did a great job. This mount is just unbelievable. Now, is this an in-game achievable?
No, this is a cosmetic.
It's a cosmetic. Okay.
Yeah.
It looks great. I mean, wow. I would love to ride that. I want him to be super slow and regal in his movements. You know what I mean? He looks like a royal mount. So on the animation side, I know that they're obviously going to share with the scale runner and stuff, but if there was a way we could kind of slow down his idle at least and give him just kind of like a "you're beneath me" attitude, I think that would fit perfectly with his persona.
Well, that makes sense because he is a noble steed. So I'm glad that came across to you, because that is that's how I believe this one I worked with Scott to design.
Nice.
Yeah, the set.
Yeah, I love the
Yeah.
horn works on the face as well.
Yeah. Scott had a really cool theme for this because this was all obviously most of the set is very Nikuin if you check it out. It was part of the a Home Waters
Oh, is
home.
that true? Z said his name is Frank. Is it Frank?
They've been naming him Frank in the community.
Okay.
All right, next up we've got some stuff from Jinsey. This is first the Embered Kit, which you've seen the
Oh,
Fox of
look
the
at the
Pyre.
little baby
These are the
foxes.
babies. Yeah,
Aw,
these are little pets.
look at the little fur babies.
Now we're gonna show off an in-game achievable.
So those are the pets that kind of just follow you around. They don't have any in-game relevance or like mechanical features, right? They're
No,
not
yeah,
going to interact with enemies or yourself, but they're just going to like, stand at your feet and follow you. They'll like lick their paws and animation and clean themselves or something, right? These guys look great. I mean, I love them.
they're
They look
super cute.
awesome.
They're adorable. This next one is an in-game achievable item. Dun dun. Hippo!
Zillius said that that's a waste of FPS. Somebody ban Zillius from chat, please. No, I'm just kidding. You're entitled to your opinion.
This is our hippo friend, also made by Jinsey. And there's a
Aw.
variant of it. So you can kind of see the two.
Yeah, that's a big boy and girl as well. I think that's a big girl. She's got a lot of jewelry on her.
Well, boys can wear jewelry, but I think
That's true.
other body parts are telling that it might be a female.
I'm looking at her fingernails, and she has them kind of painted and long. So
yes,
I'm thinking,
the fingernails. That's what.
yeah,
that's what it
that
is.
gave it away. Gave it away.
Yeah.
Also, she's got very pretty little eyelashes.
Aw, dude, hippos are dangerous.
Hippos are
actually.
dangerous.
They're
You just
actually very dangerous.
I think the first time I saw hippos as a kid was in the movie Congo, when they got attacked by the hippos. And like from that point forward, I knew that hippos were dangerous. And if I ever came across one, to steer clear. But
oh my god. Yeah, their jaws are just super strong. They can just like crush things. And with like no effort, they're just like hump and eats it. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. Have you ever seen the videos of like hippos eating like full watermelons?
Yes, yes. It's cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is super cool. They just chop those things down.
People are wondering if this will be a group mount. I think it's just a singular, like you just sit on it, but
It's a single mount. Now, is
yeah.
this a cosmetic?
No, this is an in-game achievable.
Oh, this is an in-game achievable mount. So again, comparatively, guys, I know a lot of times in the past, people have been wanting to see some of the in-game achievable stuff. We try to keep the in-game achievable stuff relatively close to the chest because that's stuff we want you to discover and be excited about. But here's an example of the complexities and just the ornateness of this mount comparatively, right? But this is a really cool looking mount. I love hippos, and I can't wait to see the animation behind it too.
All right. With that, we're gonna wrap things up with going through our Q&A. We're still a little over.
What do you
on
call
time.
a curious question? What do you call a group of hippos?
A group of hippos? I'll look it up. I don't know.
Is it like a murder of hippos, a flock of hippos?
Is called.
I think it's maybe a flock. Pod?
It's called a bloat, a pod, or a herd.
Oh, a bloat of hippos.
A bloat of hippos. A bloat of hippos. I like it. All right, going into Q&A. Our first question here is from Sia Curry. Kiri? I don't know if I'm saying your names right. Let me know. And they want to know about nodes. Once a node goes into lockout after a siege, can the quest to obtain a siege scroll still be completed, or is it locked out for the time period?
It's a very good question. So as it stands now, the quest for that node can still be completed. However, there is a time limit for those scrolls. So if you select, I think if you select that node still as a target for that scroll, it's possible that you would that you would have excuse me, the lifetime of that scroll would be under the lockout of the node. So it's possible you could waste that. We might change that in the future. I'm sure that design is going to want to revisit that. So don't hold me to it right now. It might be
Yeah, and I
locked
know
out.
you didn't want people to gamify it where like you're holding on to scrolls,
Correct.
you know,
Yep.
because then you just like do a bunch of have everyone have a bunch of scrolls and just hold on to them. It's
Yes.
not ideal. Magma Kitten wants to know about naval content. Will there be a dark lake of rivers or any expanse of naval content included within the Underrealms?
That's a very good question. Not for now. And I wouldn't rule out the opportunity for something along those lines in the future with an expansion or an update. But at the moment, no, there's not a plan for Underrealm naval activity.
Right. And then Song Rune wants to know about Bard gameplay. In the interview with MMORPG, Stephen mentioned again the formations for bards. Will this be primarily a way that bards buff their teams?
I'm not sure if it's going to be primarily. It is definitely going to be incorporated as certain for certain skills, certain abilities. Those might be those might be more key abilities, right? Higher tier abilities, but it probably will not be the primary function of the bard's role, requiring formation related buffs every time they attempt to buff the party.
All right. And then Pete Nasty wants to know about utility skills. Could you elaborate on the potential of stealth when it comes to both utility and combat?
Um, I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Could you elaborate on the potential of stealth when it comes to both utility and combat?
Both utility and combat. Yeah, I think one of the things about stealth that's really important is, and this is oftentimes in other games that we played, is take the take the encounter with a boss or with NPCs. If you draw aggro, you draw hate because of perhaps maybe some of the damage that you're doing, or you need to kind of clear that hate or dip out of the fight momentarily. Stealth would be a great utility component to achieve that goal. Additionally, from a combat perspective, of course, stealth is a huge tool when it comes to kind of sneaking up on a target, not being easily detected, staying on the fringes of the fight, and choosing your time to engage. I mean, those are the elements of stealth that we want to incorporate. If you're trying to navigate past, NPC enemies to make it down to a group in a dungeon, and you're a class that has stealth available to you, it's a great utility mechanic for you to avoid aggro of those monsters as you're moving down.
All right. Our next question is from Jeremy, and they want to know about group mounts. How are group mounts different from regular mounts in regards to unlocking or obtaining them?
Um, when it comes to unlocking and obtaining, you can probably imagine that group mounts are going to be a little bit more in depth and rarer. These are mounts that have additional mechanics associated with the number of people that can ride them. They might have certain types of weapon systems on those riding points that players can utilize. In that sense, these are going to be more rare. They are going to be more difficult to obtain. Yeah.
Okay. And to reiterate, because people are like, there's not going to be any stealth. He wasn't saying that there's not going to be stealth. It's just more that it's part of a class, like an archetype feature.
Oh, there
Then,
absolutely
yeah.
is stealth. Stealth
Yeah.
is 100% an option in the game. It's not going to render yourself or the individual who uses the stealth completely obscured. You're still going to be able to identify. There's going to be utility skills that can reveal stealth from a PvP perspective. There's going to be perceptions that certain NPCs have that can see through stealth, like tremor sense or life sense. There are elements and mechanics that relate to stealth and how it is balanced in the game. It's not going to be similar to stealth that's found in other games where the target is rendered completely invisible. They can make it past every enemy NPC or monster. They can use stealth at all times. These are elements that is a tit for tat. These are components of class kits that are going to have corresponding counters as it relates to other classes as well.
One of my favorite things is when we were kind of showing off some of our combat through Apocalypse, is that people would change into like structures in the world, and people would be like, "Oh, that's just a fountain," and then you'd be like going by, and then it comes out and ganks you. It was intriguing to have that kind of stealth. I don't think I've seen a ton in MMOs. Um, our next question is going to be from Emberstone, and it's about building cosmetics. How will homestead skins affect the space available for furniture?
How will affect the space available for furniture? So furniture, so the space available for furniture should be relatively similar between building types. That at least we'll try to make sure that that's the case. When it comes to how furniture is incorporated as part of your layout and allotment, these are going to be hard numerical values that are based on the building type that you have, right? So the larger the home, the more furniture pieces you can have. From a space perspective, that's something that's accounted for in the modeling of the actual buildings.
Yeah, and when it comes to if you put like a cosmetic house on top of your normal house, those cosmetics should be similar in size. The shape will change, right? So maybe the room layout will be different, but it'll still be like a one-story building, right? And putting it on. We'll
Correct.
have more details about those things coming. I think I actually had a
Yeah.
chat with the design team. They're kind of fleshing some stuff out, and then Steven's gonna approve it or change things. And then I'll be coming back to give you guys a little bit more detail on what specifically the cosmetics that we've sold will be able to go on. So you have a
Yep.
little bit more context, because I know there's a lot of questions regarding that. And I mentioned this on the forums as well. Our next question here is from Lavitz Slambert, and they want to know about racial lore. Will we be given naming conventions based on the individual races and cultures?
At some point, yes. Again, we're wanting to keep a lot of that stuff pretty close to the chest. Of course, it's not something we can keep close to the chest forever. As we enter into Alpha 2 and into our betas, that stuff is going to be revealed. And I would look forward to those future dates for more information on it.
All right. And the next question is about um, mount combat. And they would like to know, will mounts have the ability to charge slash trample, or will players be able to use lances or mounts? And this comes from Nayrock.
Yes, there will be a number of different combat feature skills on mounts. It kind of depends on the particular mount, its breed, and sometimes a little bit of RNG aspects to the creation of these mounts and your acquisition of them. But they'll have abilities like charging through opponents, being able to knock those opponents down. They'll have defensive capabilities. They'll have utility capabilities. They might have specific abilities that do create a lance while you're mounted on the target. These are all ideas that are within the realm of possibility and have been discussed by the design team and incorporated as part of our layout for mounts and skills. But as we narrow those things down and test them, you'll get a better picture of what types of things are available on mounts in the future.
All right. And then our last one here is from Dabs16, and they would like to know about node corruption. To what extent will the corrupted areas affect the node if the players decide not to deal with it? And does it have a limit, or can corruption go as far as to destroy nodes?
Corruption can go as if players don't address corruption, corruption can go as far to increase the frequency of NPC driven events against the node. Those NPC driven events can disable certain node buildings, features, and services. Disabling those node buildings, features, and services make the node susceptible to sieges and the ability for players to destroy nodes. So it can be a very detrimental thing if corruption is not addressed. And that's the intent of corruption, is to present a challenge to the players that, if not addressed, it becomes exacerbated and really a problem over time.
All right. And we do have a few more if you have time, but I know we are a little over time, so we can wrap out
We
those
can
well.
we can take one more.
Okay, one more. I will just go in the order that the bonus questions are here. So this one is from Garen, and they want to know about armor cosmetics. When it comes to the transition to Unreal Engine 5, what is your favorite armor set you are excited to see within the new engine?
Oh
I don't think it
wow.
changes anything though,
That's
too
a oh it
much.
I mean
Particle effects,
visually of
maybe. Yeah.
well the interaction with the lighting and lumen is going to have changed the appearance
Hmm.
of materials and assets in game, as we could have seen with our December presentation of the UE5 level. Um, what set what set am I most excited about? That's a very good question. I don't think I've ever been asked that. Um, oh man, I don't know. That's a toughie.
We can go on to the next one too.
Yeah, and I guess I'll just
'Cause
answer real
I
quick.
like them all.
Yeah, I like more cloth-based sets. I really like the movement and simulation of cloth within the game. So any set that has kind of long, adornments of cloth that are present, I think you asked the character team, the sets that I've probably more interacted with in their completion has been the cloth ones. But I don't know, I kind of, but at the same time, like looking at that dwarven armor, that plate armor is just awesome. Like I look at that and I'm like, wow. you know so but I tend to gravitate more towards cloth. We can take one more. that was a
Yeah,
that was
that
a
was in.
non-developer
I just was
development
going
related
around in the
question.
order. Disobedient would like to know about crafting and alchemy specifically. Can I create my own original potion and keep the recipe secretly for myself?
That's a good question. At the moment, there has definitely, let me say this, there has been some designers who have advocated for that specifically. There is a level of complexity that adds to the crafting system. I'm not opposed to that. It's possible we may see something like that in the future. I was actually just having a conversation with Corey a little while ago about the idea of like storage for certain alchemical items or food related items, and how the freshness might play into the efficacy of that particular item, how furniture could help store those things and augment that. Like, do we have a refrigeration or an ice box for like, keeping meat preserved or something? I'm not sure if we're going to get that granular. I'm not sure if we're going to allow unique recipes that can kind of be hidden. Right now, I think we're definitely going to have rare recipes. We're going to have a very active recipe market. That how players find them and how they discover them is going to be very diverse. It's not just going to be drop oriented. It's going to be discovery, adventurism, treasures, repetition of a particular activity that might yield something, deconstruction that might learn how to create a recipe. There's a lot of different functionality that's present that's going to be utilized. But yeah, we'll have to see about that.
All right. And I think to go back to the other question, I had a little think about it, Garen, a little bit more. And I think I still love the Face of Sorrow outfit. It's one of my favorites. I'm a huge I love tanking or healing. So I usually end up being like some kind of cleric or some kind of paladin or something. So wearing heavy armor is my jam. But I think that set is just badass. And I'm sure it's gonna look really cool in Unreal Engine 5 as well. All right. With that, we are wrapping up our development update for January. I feel like we've been talking for a lot, but hopefully you all enjoyed all of the goodness, seeing all the new race models and the updated race models, getting a little sneak peek at the VEC. And, as we progress further in the months, you'll be able to see more of that. We are thinking that we might be able to show off the character creator next month. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely want to tune in. And as we move forward, we'll be showing off a lot of prototyping of the combat stuff that the design team and engineering team are working towards. So lots of good stuff. Ooh, cat moved. For your bingo. We have a new dev discussion coming up, so it will be in regards to RNG. So if you have thoughts on this, definitely give us your feedback, as that is coming up soon. We also have our January cosmetic swap over on February 9th. And this video will be up on YouTube, so you can go check it out on YouTube. at Ashes of Creation. We'll also post all kinds of goodies on our social media channels, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the things. Definitely give us some love over there, and we'll have conversations with you over on our Discord. I know there's a watch party happening right now if you want to hang out with our community managers. And with that, we will wrap up our January development update.
Thanks for tuning in, guys and gals. Loved having you here as always. Thank you for your support, and we can't wait to show you more cool things.
All right, see ya.